Hello, welcome back. It's me, Emma. How have you all been? I hope you've been well. I've been doing all right. Sun's out. Well, not today. It's quite grey today. But, generally, sun's out, nice weather. What more could you want? Today for you, I have another paint with me. We're going to be doing a sort of, it's not quite a portrait. I know probably the title says it's a portrait, but it's mostly water and greenery. Although I think I do spend most of my time on the face. We'll get to that later. I have no script for this video today. Normally I have a little bit of an idea of what I want to say. I have no idea today. I've been putting off recording this audio for a while because I just don't know what to say. I mean, this video was originally supposed to be posted for the 1st of July. What you're watching now is what I was doing at the end of, I don't even think it was the end of May. I think it was the beginning of May that I started drawing this, because I did it when I had some leave from work. And it's now coming up to the end of July, and I'm now posting it. I don't think I resumed this painting until beginning to mid-July, so it's been about 2 months in the making, this painting. It mostly was sat on my bookcase, leaning against my fan, staring at me because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I don't know why this time I decided to start by drawing straight onto the panel. Normally I do a wash of paint and then I draw on top of it. There's no issue with doing it the other way around. I think that's what made it a little bit more intimidating for me when I was coming around to drawing it, because I was doing it straight onto the panel. I think when I put down that first wash of paint, it takes away that sort of blank page anxiety, or in this case, blank panel anxiety. I think I've mentioned it before. No, I've definitely mentioned it before in one of my first videos, the tiger painting I did, but I like to pre-mix some, if not all, of the colours that I'm going to use. I find it takes away some of that initial stress of painting. I can find it very difficult to mix colours as I go when I'm just starting out, but when I'm further along in the painting, I'm quite happy to mix as I go, because I've got more of an idea of what sort of colours I want, how dark, how light. It's just when I start off, I need a little bit of a helping hand, a little guide in what I'm doing. These colours that I mixed, I don't end up staying too faithful to them. Not even like this initial sort of idea do I stay faithful to. I mean, in that initial drawing segment, I'm sure you saw, but she was sort of sitting in like a tub. I don't know how else to describe it. I've done these 3 little drawings of this same girl before, all at different points in time, but the most recent one I drew with the goal in mind that I was going to make that out of clay, and then I decided I wanted to paint it as well. So I'm painting it now. I've not made it out of clay yet. I'd like to make it out of clay. I think it'd be a bit of fun. I want to have a go at using resin to make water. I want to have a go at using this resin water to make a little pond for her to sit in with her little head in. And I also want to do a little pond for my little tiger sculpture, because he was based off of a drawing I did of a tiger that was sat in water. So I want to make him a little pond as well. Anyway, back to the initial drawing I did. I did her in that little, I said tub, it was supposed to be a pond, because I wanted to stay faithful to the drawing I did in my sketchbook, and then I realised it left a lot of blank space, and I didn't really like the idea of doing that as a painting. So I scratched that. I went and refound the reference image that I did the initial drawing off of, and I used the reference, mainly for the background, not for the foreground. The foreground, it was its own issue. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's not the worst thing I've ever painted in my life. I've definitely done worse. This here is the jump between end of May and then the I think end of June, beginning of July, which is when I picked this up. One night I decided to go over top in pencil and rejig what I was doing, because I think one of the reasons I struggled to come back to this painting was I didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't quite what I had imagined. And so while it was sitting leaning against my fan and staring at me, I think I'd just sort of slowly been rejigging in my head what I wanted from the painting. I sort of decided, I came to the realization that I didn't really like it being so blue. I wanted it to be more green, and I had it in my head that it was going to be more green than it was. So you can see, I don't know if you can see here or if you can see later, because I don't know how the editing of this is going to go, but I do end up going over top of the water with actual greens. It's not even green toned blue or bluish greens, they are green greens. Also, I really enjoyed painting the lily pads. The lily pads are a lot of fun to paint. So this is where my struggles with painting the face begins. I've not really painted a portrait properly since GCSE. I've done like maybe one like side profile and then one quite recently that went well, and that I like went over top of it with, when it was finished, with paint to film a little baby reel for it. There was a little jump there in the face. I had to do some of it off of camera because it was just stressing me out, and I just needed to like not think about filming and painting that face at the same time. But it's been so long that I'm so rusty on like mixing skin tones and rendering out a face, because I think when you do it in pencil, I think like doing something that small in pencil, it's quite easy for me, but doing it that small in paint, I really struggle, because when I paint, I like to use really big brush strokes, whereas when I'm using pencil, it's much easier to do those finer details and those finer lines, because you're limited to the lead of the pencil, how sharp it is or how blunt it is. So yeah, no, I'm definitely rusty on the face, and it really shows. And I probably, the original like reference image for this painting, the model of the photo is that her face is at a 3/4 angle, and I decided to do a straight on portrait. And later on, at one point, I was thinking to myself, I should have just been faithful to the reference image, and then maybe I wouldn't be having this struggle. But I'd invested too much of my time and my effort and my sanity in trying to do the face front facing that I didn't want to paint over top and do her a 3/4 angle, because I was just too invested and committed at this point to what I was doing. lotus flowers. They're supposed to be lotuses. I know earlier I'd like drawn some lily pads, but because the water was so green, there wasn't really a good way of doing the lily pads to have them fit in. I don't really like drawing flowers all that much. My dislike stems from this one digital painting I did, I think probably in like 2017 or 2018, where I drew these. They were lotuses actually, and it was so painstaking. I just have not been able to commit myself to properly draw a flower ever since. Now, I don't do a lot of like rock painting. These are supposed to be rocks. They're not very good looking rocks. I also don't draw a lot of bushes or grass, and so it looks a bit muddy. I do try a bit later to up the contrast between the edge of the rocks and the water, but it doesn't look quite right. I didn't have any reference image for this foreground either, which was a major mistake because I think it detracts from the rest of the painting. I also think that the flowers being there were a bit much, and I think probably the bushes coming up as high as they do doesn't really, I think it detracts away from the top 2/3 of the painting, or really 3/4 of the painting. I think it's just too much green, and perhaps maybe I should have gone more blue toned with them like I did with the shadows in the green and for the hair of the girl. I like this painting, but I don't love it. And I think I just can't get myself to love it because there's something off about it. And it's definitely that lower quarter where the foreground is. And I don't think the lotuses are quite right, but I was just very eager to finish it. I like sort of the top half of it, and maybe if I were to crop it, I think I could love it. But I think as it is now, I can only like it. I will probably grow to hate it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me. It's been a while. I haven't posted a video since mid-June. It was a bit of a different video from what I do usually. It was lino cutting. Not very many people watched it either, but I enjoyed doing it, and I think that's what matters. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day or evening or afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. Enjoy it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.